J. Borse, sir.
Thank you, Pathak sir. I am Professor J. Borse, Assistant Professor and Head of the Physics Department and IQC Coordinator of the same college. So I would like to introduce our today's keynote speaker, Professor B. Vidya Vardhini Madam. So she has completed PhD in 1998 from Usmania University, Hyderabad. She has known the various languages such as Telugu, Hindi, English, Tamil, and French. She worked as a UGC Project Fellow from 1995 to 1999, CSIR Senior Research Associate in 2002 to 2003, Chairperson BOS in Botany and Biotechnology in 2008 to 2010, Head Department of Botany since 2010 to 2012, Head Department of Biotechnology and Chairperson of BOS in Botany 2012 to 2014. Now, Professor B. Vidya Vardhini Madam is working as a Professor and Head Department of Botany, and she is also Principal of University College of Science, Telangana University since 2014. She is a life member of Indian Society for Plant Physiology, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi, life member of Andhra Pradesh Academic of Sciences, Hyderabad. She organized the 4 various national level workshops and worked as a research supervisor from Telangana University and JNT University, Hyderabad. She has guided the 5 students for the postdoctoralship. She has also evaluated the various PhD theses and worked as an external examiner for the PhD Viva Voice. She has published the 72 research papers in various national and international reputed journals, 5 papers presented in international conferences, 39 papers presented in national conferences. She worked as a member of editorial board of international journal and member of peer review board of various international journals, reviewed the 90 manuscripts and various books. She has worked as a Dean, Faculty of Science and Computer Science 2017 to 2019 and Register of the Telangana University from the 2017. She also worked as a Dean of the College Development Council from 2020 onwards and Chairperson of the BOS in Botany, Satwana University since 2022 till date. Now she is a mentoring UGC DS Kothari Post-Doctoral Fellow. Okay, so I request to Professor B. Vidya Vardhini Madam.
Good morning to one and all, and it gives me immense pleasure to be here on this platform, on this virtual platform, when you are celebrating the NSD, that is the National Science Day, and I would like to share my screen. Can I do it, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
I'm not able to, ma'am.
Ma'am, just click on to share screen.
Yeah, ma'am, it's not. It's saying that the disabled, it is whole disabled the participant.
Okay, try now, ma'am.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes. So first and foremost, I would like to thank the organizers who are conducting this one-day national level webinar, role of life sciences in the pandemic like COVID-19. And I would like to, which is organized by late Pushpa Devi, Patil Arts and Science College, Risud, Wasim, Maharashtra. And it gives me immense pleasure to talk about science. We know that life science is the eternal hope for survival, and because in the present pandemic era, like the post-pandemic era, all of us are just running to different phases of life sciences to save our lives. Pre-pandemic era, COVID era, we know that computer science played a pivotal role. Now, life science is going to play a pivotal role, and I'm really happy that the organizers of this seminar on virtual mode are organized something related to the pandemic. So I just want to say about the National Science Day NSD, which is celebrated on 28th February, because we are commemorating the discovery of Raman effect by the Indian physicist Sir C.V. Raman on 28th Feb 1928. And for this, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in the year 1913. And we know that life science is known to play a role from time immemorial, and it has an eternal impact on the survival mechanisms of mankind. So the theme of Science Day for 2021 is Future of STI, Impact on Education, Skills and Work. So what is science, technology, innovation? It is something which we are dealing, and we should take a step by doing this so that we can correlate our life sciences and make a better place for the human beings to survive. And we ourselves have been troubling us, and because of which we have been into this pandemic era. The pandemic era, knowingly or unknowingly, is something which we have done over the past many years. So we know that as science is playing an important role, even life science also is going to play a pivotal role in the days to come. So when we think about life science and biotechnology, let us see what we can do about for better crops. So we know that biotechnology is something about the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes in the living beings. And it is something which we are using to develop, to create new and better products. So when we are doing better products, we are cultivating different crops for different reasons, like food, fiber, fodder, medicine, commercial purposes, aesthetic purposes. And because of that, these food products are giving us more and more access to better crops, access to better lifestyle, access to better commercialization. And we know that in the past years, the biotechnologists have done great research, and we have got many good improvements in the crops because of biotechnology. Like we have the flavor saver tomato, which is engineered for a longer shelf life, and then which is having more vitamin A. We have the BT potato, that is the Bacillus thuringiensis resistant potato, so that when the potato is grown, it is not affected by this insect, Bacillus thuringiensis. And then we have BT cotton, which is going to give us a good fiber, as we have seen. And then golden rice, which is genetically modified to contain beta carotene, and which is very good for our Indian population, especially Indian women who consume more rice, and but they are having so many other vitamin deficiencies in them. And then when we are dealing about life sciences, one of the things we are going to see in this pandemic is the medicine. So most of the plant metabolites are used as drugs in their purified form, or their structure is used for synthesizing the artificial drugs. Anyhow, somewhere, sometime, every time, we can say that the plants are being used. So the plants used as natural medicines are called as medicinal plants, and study of these plants is called as medicinal botany, which is going to be an important aspect in this post-pandemic era. And then you know that the medicinal botany usually deals with the secondary metabolites which are obtained in the plants. You know, plants have got three primary metabolites: the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the lipids. Apart from that, they have different secondary metabolites like alkaloids, flavonoids, glycosides, vitamins, tannins, coumarins, phenols, resins, gums, and these are being used as medicine. So the contribution of the modern ethnobotanists, anthropologists, pharmaceutical chemists, and physicians, they are going to play very, very good role in the future for these medicinal plants and for the using of the therapeutic properties of plants for a better mankind. And another aspect of better life is the role of PGR for enhanced plant growth. We know that in living in this pandemic era, we know that we are having so many other environmental stresses which are occurring and which is having a devastating effect on the life sciences, whether it's the man, the animals, or the plants. And all this started with the man himself. We have been doing some things which has resulted in this. So when we think about the pollution, the global warming, the greenhouse gases, why are all they being causing so much of negativity? Is because it started with the Industrial Revolution way back in the 1600s, which resulted in the pollution, whether it's the water pollution, the soil pollution, the air pollution, the noise pollution. All the different types of pollutions are causing some sort of negative effect, which has resulted in the global warming and which has resulted in us having a little difficult life. Now we have seen that there other days we will say avalanches in the northern India, we have seen snow in Israel. We are hearing all these things because of our mistakes. And we have to overcome these mistakes by many processes. So one of the main things to overcome the mistakes of the plants and to increase the plants for the medicinal value or for all the things which we have seen in the previous slides, like food, fodder, fiber, aesthetics, we are using these plant growth regulators. So these plant growth regulators are chemical messengers which are influencing the patterns of plant development, and they are natural substances which are produced by the plant in one part of the plant, and they cause a physiological response or a betterment in other part of the plant. And they are stored in regions, and then either they are translocated to the phloem or mesophyll. But when the appropriate necessity requires, and the appropriate stimulus will help in their movement. And these regulators are promoters and inhibitors. And the promoters are like some plant growth regulators which we have seen, like brasinosteroids, auxins, salicylic acid, cytokinins, gibberellins, and we have inhibitors like ascorbic acid and ethylene. So when we are applying all these plant growth regulators to conserve plants and to help mankind to live under a better environment condition in the present scenario where we are having so many negative effects, like we haven't even heard about some diseases like Ebola or diseases like SARS, which have been a part of our life for the past 4 to 5 years, or maybe a decade, 10 years, which is causing a havoc in mankind. And most of the reason is because we are not able to live in a better environment. We are not able to have better plants. We are not able to have better life cycle for us. So finally, we see that as part of the life sciences, we should study about plants, and it's very, very important for us to study plants, to grow plants, to conserve plants, because they are an integral part of our ecosystem, they are an integral part of our globe, and we have to conserve them. So because they're like the lungs of our life, and if they are conserved, we will survive for some more time. Otherwise, what is the hope? Say around after 100 years, what will happen to our grandchildren's children? How are they going to survive? How are they going to live, or our grandchildren, or the next to next generation? So we have to conserve the plants. We have to give them a healthy atmosphere, a healthy environment. So why are we planting trees? We are planting trees to reduce the global warming, to improve the groundwater level, to prevent soil erosion, to promote ecosystem, to reduce the pollution, to improve the soil fertility. And the main reason we are needing plant is for our survival mechanism. The plants take in the carbon dioxide which is released by us, and it converts it into oxygen, which is our source of living, which is the source of our respiration. So we need to have plants, we need to grow plants. And all of us, all different parts, I don't know in other states, but we are in Telangana, we have a program called Haritaharam, where we are just planting trees and planting trees. I think different states across India also have their own different names or nomenclature when they are using, which they are using to plant different plants. So we have to just, very simple way, we have to dig, and we have to just keep the plant and put water and look after it carefully. And I hope all of you who are attending the seminar will at least plant 15 plants in their life, 15 trees which should become a plant. So I request all of you to take a pledge on your own that we are going to plant trees and have a better lifestyle and help us, us as well as our next generation to live a better life. So with this, I would like to say that trees and plants are an integral part of our life, and hope all of you have always planted trees and are going to plant trees, and hope all of you will use these plants for the betterment of our life. So thank you one and all, and God bless. I have been given only 15 minutes, so I don't want to take extra time. And is there anything anyone wants to ask, any questions? I'll be ready to answer them. And Karnakar, I hope I've stuck to my time, because I know you have a heavy, you have other people also speaking. I can't hear you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. If anyone having a question, to ask, ma'am, please raise your hand in chat, or you can message in chat box.
Yeah, or otherwise, I'll give my mail ID to your sir, Karnaka sir, and he can get back to me. If you are, if you are have to continue this seminar, right? You have got the next speaker waiting. So
Yeah.
if you have anything, you can put in the chat box, or you can just mail me, or you can mail your sir. He can mail me back, and I'll reply to you. I'll reply everyone's queries from my side. And it was really a pleasure being on this platform. It's really a pleasure sharing my opinion as a plant scientist. I always want to promote about plants because we are an integral part, the human beings and the plant together.
Thank you, ma'am. We will give the email in the chat box. If any participant wants to contact with the ma'am, you can personally chat with ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now, thank you for your value. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your valuable keynote address and your valuable guidance related to the medicinal plants. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Now, I request our organizing secretary, Mr. J. Borse sir, to introduce our today's resource person, Dr. P.P. Dixit sir. Mr.
Thank you, Pathak sir. Now I am going to introduce our today's resource person, Dr. Prashant P. Dixit sir. So Dr. Dixit is a professor and head Department of Microbiology from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University Sub-Campus, Usmanabad. He has completed PhD in 2010 from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad. He is also qualified the state eligibility test for lectureship, SLET. He has 2 years research experience in National Chemical Laboratory, Pune, and 19 years teaching experience. Now he is working as a professor and head Department of Microbiology till date. He is also the in-charge director of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University Sub-Campus, Usmanabad. He is also the member of Board of Sciences in Microbiology. He also works as a nodal officer in COVID-19 testing laboratory, member Faculty of Science and Technology, member of Ad hoc Board in Genetics, special invited member in Ad hoc Board of Biotechnology, paper setter in PhD entrance examination, external referee for Viva Voice in University, paper setter and moderator in University examination. He has research interest in the field of enzymology, protein chemistry, diversity of microorganisms, isolation, purification, and characterization of compounds obtained from microbial origin, exploring microbial world for the product of human welfare. The 3 students have been completed PhD under his guidance. Now he has published the 58 research papers in various national and international reputed journals, published 1 book of environmental sciences for undergraduate students, and published 21 abstracts in conference. He delivered the lectures and chairperson in 8 various conferences. So I request to Dr. Prashant P. Deshmukh sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So good morning, everybody. Let me first wish all of you a very happy Science Day. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
So just now, both the speakers, they have given us a clear-cut idea about celebrations regarding this National Science Day. We all know it is being celebrated to commemorate the discovery of Raman effect. Now here, I'll be talking something different. The topic given to me is role of life science in pandemic like COVID-19. We all know that science did so many enhancements to make the human life comfortable. We normally say that science is a vehicle which generally accelerates the development of human beings. Now here, while doing all these things, I personally feel that we are playing with the nature. On one hand, we are reaching Mars. Then we have the advancement in medical sciences, which is making us feel that probably we are the only living things which are going to establish on this earth. And day by day, we are trying to remove all other living organisms. And this is why many of the microbiologists, epidemiologists, they were of the opinion that it's not a question whether, rather it is matter of when will be facing such a pandemic. And this warning was issued by a great epidemiologist, Larry Brilliant, who has helped in eradication of smallpox. In fact, he told that time that the way we are moving forward, probably we are asking many microbes to get themselves prepared to attack us. And the thing has happened in December 2019. 31st December 2019 was the date where few cases from Wuhan, China, they have been reported to World Health Organization regarding some sort of pneumonic fever, and they said it was of unknown origin. Within a short span of say 10 days, it was confirmed that this is not of unusual origin, but it has been attributed to an infectious agent, who then declared as a RNA virus belonging to family Coronaviridae. And they said that the name corona is being named due to crown-like structure which appears in this virus. Then further researches led to know that this virus is belonging to Coronaviridae, and it is some sort of neighborhood of the two earlier viruses which came in 2002 to 4. We called it SARS, which has induced severe acute respiratory syndrome. And then in 2012, we faced Middle East respiratory syndrome. Now, both these viruses, they are neighbors of this particular virus. And then world was completely disturbed within a very short time span, because this virus, which was initially found in Wuhan, it was said that this has been transferred from, say, bats to human beings with some sort of mutations. But eventually it has reached Italy and then the complete Europe. And then within a very short time, it has occupied the complete globe. Meaning now we know that we have an enemy, but we can't see that enemy. And second important thing, we have come across a virus first time, and similarly the virus also has come across the human beings first time. So naturally, both are giving actions and reactions. In a process, what has happened? It has resulted in tremendous loss of life during this particular time. Now it was for we people, the life science researchers, to know what exactly this virus wants, how it grows, what are the strategies that are being laid down by the virus in order to present the infection. Now, all these things, why I am saying life sciences? Because we people are the masters of growing organisms in the laboratory. As a microbiologist, I am familiar with growing bacteria in the laboratory, whereas few of the virologists, they know how to grow viruses in the laboratory. In order to grow these viruses, what are the requirements that were chalked down? And then people tried to search what can be done in order to prevent this particular infection. Now I'll go one by one. The thing that we need to understand the enemy, what it consists of, that was the important thing. Before that, let me tell you that there are two different types of viruses. This is general information. We have DNA as well as RNA viruses. This particular virus, it belongs to RNA virus. And then what it consists of, the important thing is it consists of primarily lipoproteins, then three characteristic proteins which are known as spike protein or S protein, then envelope protein and membrane protein. And in addition to that, the nucleic acid material is also covered by nucleocapsid. Now, the moment we know
Hello, sir.
what exact, hello.
Your screen is not shared on this. Please share your screen. If you want to share your screen. Hello, sir.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Is it shared?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. Yes, sir.
It is shared.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Ah.
Yes.
Then once it was known what it consists of, then how it is being spread. Immediately, the people have started searching how exactly the virus is being spread. And it was known that this is being spread from individual contact. And then we have been led different regulations that we need to keep physical distancing, we need to have masks, and then we need to use sanitizers. Now, why all these regulations were let down? The thing was very clear that we need to break the chain. That was the slogan given, because it was found that this virus will reach the other person only through physical contact. Unless, basically, viruses, they are obligate intracellular parasites, and unless and until they get host, they won't survive. That was the basic thing behind that. And then we all started separating ourselves from others, and we have tried to limit the spread of this virus. Now, using sanitizer was important because, as I said earlier, the virus consists of lipoprotein shell, and these lipoproteins, they can be easily broken down using your sanitizers or even using the detergents or soaps. And that was the reason that we all were asked to go for use of sanitizers and soaps, washing hands every time. Then, furthermore, how we are going to restrict this infection? That was the main thing which all were looking for. And then they have asked us for the adequate and accurate diagnosis. And there are different tests which are being suggested in order to control this infection. Now here, different tests are being recommended. Out of those tests, I'll go one by one. First and most important thing, we are being asked to carry on RT-PCR test. RT-PCR, that is real-time PCR or reverse transcripted PCR. That is being called scientifically. Now here, what we exactly are doing in the initial stages, we are trying to take out the nucleic acid material from the virus. That is, in the first step during RNA isolation, we are breaking the virus. Once the virus is broke open, then the nucleic acid is purified. Now, this is RNA virus, so naturally RNA will be obtained. And then we are going for polymerase chain reaction using reverse transcriptase. Now, this reverse transcriptase will convert this RNA into DNA, and then probably using probes and primers, we are going to carry out the amplification. Now, if at all the sample possesses virus particle, definitely it will be amplified. And if it doesn't contain, then we are going to get negative results. I'll show you how exactly this RT-PCR is being carried out. So here I'll share a video, YouTube video. Prabodh?
हेलो, हाँ सर, हाँ सर,
Is the screen shared?
यस, स्क्रीन इज शेयर,
Is it video is there?
यस, वीडियो इज देयर,
Okay.
हाँ, प्ले वीडियो, यस.
So this is how this RT-PCR test is being done. I have tried to show exactly what is being happening, because there are many misconceptions among common people regarding these kind of tests. And therefore, I have tried here to provide a complete idea of what exactly is being carried out in this RT-PCR test. Today, this is supposed to be one of the most sensitive method as far as detection of this novel coronavirus is concerned. Then we have next generation sequencing. We all know that nowadays there are some news regarding mutated strains. So in order to know whether the strain has been mutated or not, this kind of next generation sequencing is being carried out. But here I'd like to make a statement for all the life scientists that please don't go for direct statements, because people are directly saying that in so and so city, so and so town, we have a mutated strain. See, we have very limited number of samples which are being sent for genome sequencing, next generation sequencing, and therefore we cannot make out inferences immediately. Let ICMR declare that these cities are having some mutated strains, because we as a life scientist are responsible person and we should not make these kind of statements immediately. Then we have some serological tests where people are looking for antibodies, if at all they have been produced, because in sublethal infections, you have, if you have received a minor amount of doses of this virus, your body is going to respond, and in that case antibodies will be generated. Those will be detected using these serological tests. And besides this, we have a rapid antigen test which is being carried out at various centers, where we can say it is being reported in within short time period, within say 10 to 15 minutes, we get the result. But the sensitivity of this test is very less, and therefore it is always advisable to go for RT-PCR test. So here I'd like to request all of you that if somebody goes for rapid antigen test, and even if it tests negative, and if you feel that I have some sort of symptoms, please go for RT-PCR test. Now, this is regarding the testing. After testing, the tracing is equally important. Now, why I'm telling this to you people? Because we as a teachers, life science teachers, we are always in contact with students and we are socially active. Therefore, if you people can tell it to the common persons that you need to get isolated, you need to tell with how many people you are in contact with, that will help in tracing. Because see, we are as a country, it is very difficult for us to cope up with this pandemic, because we have limited resources as far as the health system is concerned, and therefore it is our duty to make people aware of these facts. So testing, tracing and treatment, that was initially told by the government to all the health agencies, and I think that should be the mantra even for the common people. Then coming back to life science people, what exactly the earlier part about testing that I told, that can be the active participation of life science people. However, we can also involve in this pandemic to get rid of this pandemic passively by making people aware of the fact that what they should do and what they should not do. Whatever regulations are laid out by the government, whether it is using masks, keeping physical distance, or use of sanitizers, we need to tell it scientifically to the people that how exactly this is going to help them. Because simply by bombarding these slogans via government agencies, they are not going to help us. It is we people who can easily tell the people, because our profession is supposed to be a novel profession and people believe us. Therefore, if we tell them that you have to go by these regulations, probably they'll accept. And in coming times, we will be getting rid of this particular disease. Then in the last part, I like to talk something about the strategies, how the therapeutics could be developed or how we should go for vaccination. Now here, as far as strategies are concerned, we all know that how this, it is now known that how this virus infects a human being, how it adheres, what is role of ACE2 protein. I won't go into details of all those, but simple thing is a protease is being involved, viral protease. So if the chemistry people who are working for their PhD, postdoc, or those who are working in research, they should try and synthesize the protease inhibitors. And we need to test them on different aspects. And then finally, we can get help of agencies like National Institute of Virology, who can help us to rectify whether those inhibitors are active against this particular virus. That could be one line of therapeutics development. Secondly, as far as vaccines are concerned, there are again many miscommunications made by different people. Now here, we should remember that after getting the first dose of virus, there are some reports that some patients, they are being infected or they are getting symptoms. Now this is bound to happen. Any foreign particle, when it is entering your body is going to respond. Only when you'll receive the second dose of vaccine, probably your immunity will develop. And therefore, we need to keep patience till the second dose of vaccine is being administered. So this also is our duty to make people aware of this fact that this is happening due to these reasons, so that many people will go for vaccination, and that will help us to get rid or get out of this particular pandemic. Now, finally, here, I'd like to tell you, please don't take me mistaken. I'm just informing you that in Osmanabad, we have given this a chance. As a life scientist, I have tried to develop a COVID laboratory in university sub-campus. Of course, that too with the help of then collector, Mrs. Deepa Mudal Munde Madam, our Honorable Management Council member, Sanjay Nimbalkar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Pramod Devle sir, then Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. Vakte sir, and most importantly, this lab is formulated through public contribution. We got some donors and then we were able to formulate this particular lab, establish this particular lab. And I'm very happy that this lab has helped in testing more than 30,000 samples in Osmanabad. So this a life scientist can definitely do. So I sincerely request all my life science friends that please participate actively or passively in getting rid of this particular pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your nice talk and gives introduction about this pandemic situation and precautions to take in this situation. Also, you gave the exact procedure of the RT-PCR test. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Pramod. Thank you.
Now, thank you, sir. Now I request our Honorable Principal, Dr. J.B. Devde, sir, to deliver presidential speech. Dr. Devde, sir.
Does I am audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yes. It is now noon time, so good afternoon to each. I first give the best wishes of this Science Day. Our college at Pushpadevi Patil Arts and Science College, Resort, District Washim, Vidarbha, Maharashtra, has virtual webinar on the occasion of this National Science Day, which is celebrated to the honor to great physicist, Dr. who is known for the famous Raman effect. And today we have organized this webinar, that is the role of the life sciences in this pandemic COVID-19. First of all, I must thank our keynote speaker, resource person. They have given a very nice speech. Our keynote speaker, Professor B. Vidyavardhini Madam, who is a professor and of Telangana University, Dicapalli, district Nizamabad, Telangana. She has emphasized the role of these biological sciences or life sciences, and she has focused on the medicinal plants, ethnobotany, and role of the environment. And he has given a very nice information on this occasion. Our another resource person, Professor Prashant Dikshit, who is a professor and head Department of Microbiology, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Subcampus, Usmanabad. He has thoroughly described regarding this pandemic Corona-19, and he has given a demonstration that how to overcome this situation. He has briefly expressed about this RT-PCR test, how to conduct this test, and he has differentiated between this RT-PCR test and antigen test here. And I congratulate Dr. Prashant Dikshit that he has taken an initiative to establish a COVID lab at the subcampus Usmanabad. I will like to share, sir, our university department, biotechnology department of this Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, Amravati, also established the same type of lab at university campus, and they have also done very well job. No doubt, these we peoples, particularly teachers and particularly peoples from the science stream, has a great responsibility to aware the people in this pandemic situation. This list led Pushpa Devi Patil Arts and Science College, Risod. It's situated at a very remote process, but we have a very enthusiastic team of science faculty, and day by day, where these faculty members, they are doing well in this pandemic situation. We have organized so many webinars on this COVID-19, and today, on the occasion of this National Science Day, we have got this opportunity to hear your lecture regarding this COVID-19. You have nicely really expressed, and I think it will be very much beneficial. This webinar is very much given very huge response. Nearly 450 participants, they are linked with this year. So I must congratulate both the speakers who have given very important here. Our convener, Dr. K.M. Ranjalkar and Dr. K.F. Chalke, and our organizing team, Dr. Badar, Dr. Adhav, Dr. You can say Borse, Dr. Khade, they have very well organized this and we have always a great support of our President, Honorable C. Baba, our Secretary, Honorable C. Amit Patil, and our Executive Council also support to this type of activities which are beneficial for this mankind. So once again, I thank you, all of you, and all the participants who have participated. They have responded to this virtual webinar, which is organized by our college. I thanks once again to all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your presidential speech. Now, I request my colleague, Dr. A.P. Bhagat, madam, to give vote of thanks. Bhagat, madam. Dr. Bhagat.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, delegates and my dear students and all faculty members. We all are consequently at the end of event, but has not yet over without of time. We have celebrating National Science Day with a special 2021 theme, that is future of science, technology and innovation. And work. This was really a productive celebration of National Science Day. Which wonderful message from knowledgeable guidelines given by Dean of CDC, a noble personality and keynote speaker, Professor G. Vidyavardhini from Telangana University, Nizamabad. Thank you so much, ma'am. Once again, I was thankful to our noble resource person, Professor Prashant Dixit, HOD of Microbiology from Bamboo Sub-Center, Usmanabad, for delightful communication on COVID with massive explanation. Thank you so much, sir. Likewise, I would like to express my gratitude in the form of thankfulness on behalf of all the faculty members to our chief patron, the Honorable Principal of our college, Dr. J.D. Devre. Sir, thank you, sir, for essential help and guidelines. I am also grateful to both conveners, Dr. K.M. Randhakar and Dr. K.M. Seychelles. Thank you, sir. I would like to be thankful for all organizing secretary, IQAC coordinator, and HOD of Physics, Mr. J. Borse, HOD of Zoology, Dr. K.M. Khade, I.N. Khade, and HOD of Microbiology, Dr. A.D. Ara. Thank you one and all. Likewise, I am also grateful to all organizing members, Dr. A.D. Badar, Dr. P.S. Pathak, Dr. C.A. Chillare, Mr. J.J. Khadse, Mr. A.R. Jadhav, Mr. N.D. Umbarkar, and last but not least, all of you, my dear students, thankful for joining and patiently listening. And after the permission of our principal, I declare here the webinar is now over and you may leave the meeting. After end of this event, all participants will get feedback link in your WhatsApp group. Thank you so much.